Oh, okay, I'm back. What was I talking about? What was I talking about? Oh, yeah, yep. So, anyway, I work at EMI now. Sorry, that was like 20 minutes for me. Yeah. I probably do that like on every video too, don't I? I like it. It's a small shop. Anyway, but it's, it's fun. I went from welder to welding supervisor after about 4 or 5 months. Mostly just because just right place at the right time, you know what I mean? It's right as I started, the guy that had my job previously was kind of working his way out, heading to a different place, and it just, I had all the experience from Endflex and all the other places, and it just worked out like it's supposed to work out, man. So, yay! For instance, right now we're building pressure vessels, and that's a pain in the butt, but it's fun, so, you got to get all this documentation, we got all this QC stuff we got to do, and tracking materials, and all the time, and stuff like that. But we're talking about welding, right? We're not just talking about what I did today. So, last time we talked about different types, stick, MIG, flux core, TIG, a little bit. I guess we can talk more about, well, let's just talk about other stuff. So, like, what's a normal day like? I was thinking, get up, drive to work. You usually got to be there early. 6, 7, 5. Sometimes, I don't know. It depends on the place. Construction sites usually start really early. Shops usually start between 6 and 7. You'll run an 8 or a 10-hour day, depending. Your time will average between 40 and 60 hours a week, just depending on the economy and how hot it is or what that particular place is selling. Sometimes you'll run into shops that it's a high mix, low volume shop. So it'll be, you'll do different stuff all the time, and you'll only do a few of those things at a time. So maybe one day you build a skid, next day you build some stairs, or the next week you build some stairs, the week after that you build a platform or whatever, Those are all examples of structural items. There's plenty of places that do welding that do fancy spiraling staircases, or build dumpster gates, or build fences, or build stuff for parking lots, or towers. There's all kinds of stuff, obviously. And then the other kind of place is a low mix, high volume. So the first one was high mix, low volume. The next place is going to be low mix, high volume. And that is going to be like you're going to weld one thing over and over and over and over. So, like, I worked at RK&I for a while. That was, man, I don't know, in between some of those other jobs I talked about in another video. Don't get me lying. I didn't work there long because the job was, they would bring me a pallet of parts, these little pieces of angle for a toolbox. I don't know if you know RKR, but they build truck boxes. And I would just weld through that pallet of crap. I just weld one piece and put it on a different stack, and grab one and weld it and put it on a stack, and grab one and weld it, put it on a stack. Not exactly super exciting. Not really my thing. I like to do different stuff all the time. But it was an okay, it was an okay job if that's, some people like that, man. You put on your headphones, and you put on your headphones and you just do your thing. You work your 8 or 10 hours or whatever, and you go home and you're happy. And that's great, man. If that's your thing, I think that's awesome. Just not for me. But there are jobs like that out there where you're just kind of chilling, man, and that's fine. I had a job out in the port area for a little bit, and at that job all I did was cut stuff up with a torch. Torch is a pretty common item. yeah, we can talk about that for a minute. I got a couple seconds. I had to go drink some beer, but we got a couple more minutes to talk. Common items, common tools and practices, I guess we can talk about. It's called, you have an oxygen and a acetylene torch, although a lot of people nowadays, and for the last, I don't know, 10 years or 15 years or something, have been switching over to propylene. Propylene's good. The nozzles tend to last longer. The gas is less expensive. You can cut longer on it. You use less oxygen in the mix. And overall, it's a good thing. So if you're ever going to set up your own shop, or you're going to get a little rig or something like that, or you're just looking to invest in some kind of torch, I would go with propylene. There's nothing wrong with propylene. Acetylene's the more traditional one, but again, it is more expensive. I mean, it's basically the same thing. It just costs more money. Propylene's more like propane. And I really can't tell you more than that about like chemical differences or stuff like that. I've used both. I like both. They're both fine. I've used more acetylene than propylene just because of my age and when I got into the industry. But probably more and more as we go along, we'll see more and more propylene use. But let's just talk about oxygen acetylene because that's really common. It's 2 bottles. You have an oxygen bottle. It's filled with oxygen. It comes from a welding supply place, or you know, we got down here. We used to have Twisco. You got Airgas, Praxair. They own a bunch of stuff. They're probably up north and stuff too. And then you got another bottle. It's filled with acetylene. Now the acetylene bottle, you gotta remember, it has you would park right next to me. Has liquid in the bottle, and it has, you know, so the liquid turns into like a gas. So there'll be pressure on top of the bottle. But you got to remember when you're going to transport one of those things, you can't lean it over on its side because that liquid will move around and it can become unstable. And if you try to use it on its side, you could get liquid acetylene out of it. And that's never happened to me, but I'm pretty sure this shit's just going to blow the fuck up. Super unstable in a liquid form. So don't do that. Keep it upright. And upright means that the top of it will have a nozzle and a knob, right? And you put your regulator into that nozzle to open it up. So those will have 2 regulators on them. They're specific regulators. The acetylene is threaded backwards, countersunk from the oxygen, so you can't mix them up. Only one kind will go on that nozzle. So your acetylene bottle will turn left to tighten, and your oxygen bottle will turn right to tighten. So you get those on there. Then you'll have a red and a green hose. Normally, I haven't seen any other different colors besides that. The green hose goes to the oxygen, the red hose goes to the acetylene, and it'll come down to a torch. The torch comes in a couple different parts. You have the base. On the base of it, you'll use a crescent wrench. Make sure you get it nice and tight. You have to go crazy because it's brass, but you want a good cinch on there. And again, they're countersunk, one and one's standard thread on the other, so you can't mix them up. Don't worry about that. The torch has 2 knobs. Those knobs open and close. They're little valves that open and close. And then a main body, so it's knob, and then a valve. And then on the top of that valve, you'll get the torch head. That's got another knob on it and then a handle. When you squeeze down, it lets more oxygen pressure through, and that's how it actually cuts. So basically, and then on the top of the torch head, you'll have a bunch of different kind of tips. Each tip, it marks from triple aught, which is 0, 0, 0, double aught, 2 zeros, single aught, 1 0, and then 1, 2, 3. I think it goes up to 6, but I've never really had to use more than a number 2 for stuff I've been working on. So you get this whole thing together. I think they cost about $7,500. The kind I like is called Victor. That's a really good brand. Don't buy anything else. Just buy Victor products. It's more expensive, but I guarantee it's going to work better, longer. It's got a warranty. We talked about tools. Get the nice stuff. You know, so get the Victor torch setup. And you can buy like a kit with all that crap in it. I think that's expensive. That's probably like $350 or something like that. So do all that. And then you can get going. So to use a torch, basically, you have a striker, which makes little sparks. Sometimes you'll have ones that are, it's like a little spark plug. And then sometimes you'll have ones that use a flint. Again, you'll get them at the welding supply store. You turn on the oxygen, or you turn on the acetylene about a quarter turn, and you turn on the oxygen about an eighth of a turn, and then you strike it in front of the tip, and it'll light up. Then you adjust the oxygen and acetylene until you have nice little blue cones coming out of the tip. You don't want them a thin blue. You want not to be able to see through them. So it's I don't know what color it is, but it's like a light, creamy blue color, and it'll look like a brand new tip. When you have it set up right, it'll sound like a jet engine, like look up videos, you'll hear the noise it makes, and you'll have a nice blue cone. So that's about right. And then when you squeeze the trigger, the flip handle thing on the back, it'll shoot out. So to cut something, you basically put the torch on it, you hold it on the metal until the metal turns like a bright orangish red and starts getting like puddly. Like you'll see it molting. Once it turns that color, squeeze the handle, and you'll start cutting through. So the different sizes of, it's basically like right around this. 1/4 inch material, you can use like triple aught. 1/4 inch to like 1/2 inch, you can use double aught. Wait, no, I'm full of shit. That's not right. But the smaller material starts with a triple aught. I think like a 0 and a 1 will cut 1/2 inch and thicker, and then under that, a 0 to a triple aught. I usually use like a single aught on basically everything, and I'll use like a 1 if I'm going to cut something 1/2 inch, and if it's really thick, then I'll go get a 2. So say 2 for 1 inch, 1 for 1/2 inch, 0 for 1/4 inch, and the smaller sizes down to like 10 gauge and shit like that. Eventually, you get so thin that the torch doesn't work good, and you need to get like a plasma or mechanically cut it some kind of way. Plasmas work real good. Those, you need an air compressor, you need a plasma torch, you need like a 240 connection, the electrical connection. But I think some of them will run off 110, depending on the brand you buy. You'll only get so much power out of something like that.